So physical.
Yeah, for sure. Damon, CJ, they carry the offensive load a lot, and from the bench, Seth and Rodney, they're pretty much the guys that are.
I always embrace whatever role the team gives me, but at the end of the day, you want to be a starter. You want to play as many minutes as you can. So it was a lot of fun.
Ever seen a player lose it on the court? Well, Zach Collins just took it to a whole new level. In a game against the Kings, this Spurs player didn't just get ejected. He flipped off the ref on his way out. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video.
I think so. I think I did it to this one, and I came out of that fine, and it's been fine since. So I think we did the rehab correctly, so I think
it was good timing. Now, the worst part of injuries is missing games and sitting on the sideline and not being able to be out there with your guys. So luckily.
You might be thinking, come on, how bad could it be? Trust me, it's worse than you think. We're talking a total meltdown that's got everyone buzzing. Want to know what pushed Collins over the edge and how it all went down? Stick around, because this story is wild from start to finish. Picture this, Zach Collins, looking like he's about to explode on the court. The guy's night was already a disaster. Only 2 points in 9 minutes? That's rough. But things were about to get way worse. Collins was trying to guard Sabonis, who was cooking the Spurs. The Kings were already up big, and Collins was feeling the pressure. Then bam! The ref calls a foul on him, his third of the night. Collins just couldn't take it anymore. He starts yelling at the ref. You know how sometimes players argue a little and then let it go? Not Collins. He went off. The ref hits him with a tech, but Collins doesn't stop. He keeps going, and boom, second tech. He's out of there. But here's where it gets crazy. As Collins is walking to the bench, he completely loses it. He turns around and flips off the ref. You heard that right. He gave the official the middle finger, in front of everyone, on national TV. That's next level frustration right there. You want to know the craziest part?
We really tried to, they were blitzing our guards a lot, and we tried to make plays out of that. And I think we can still get even better at that, but I think that was big for us tonight. And
his defense, and you got to tip your hat to him. He took on the challenge against arguably the greatest, most dynamic scorer ever.
This isn't even the first time Collins has gotten into it with the refs. Remember that game against the Nuggets? He got tossed then too, after getting into it with Michael Porter Jr. It's like Collins has a target on his back or something. But this time, this is different. Flipping off a ref is a whole new ball game. The NBA doesn't mess around when it comes to this kind of thing. Collins is in for some serious consequences. You know what's even wilder? The Kings seem to bring out the worst in their opponents. It's like there's something in the water in Sacramento. Players just lose their cool against them. So what happened next?
It's a competitive team. No one wants to lose, so we know we're going to get their best shot, and obviously there's going to be a little bit of chatter. So we just had to keep our heads.
Shooting for him obviously was something that, to be honest, it looks funky, right? But and when he came in the league, like that was something he had to work on. And
why is this such a big deal? Well, let's just say the fallout from this is going to be massive. Collins isn't just facing a suspension. We're talking fines, maybe even a longer ban.
Definitely put more of an emphasis on teaching and actually drilling things a lot, especially defensively.
We're going to be physical and tough on defense. We got to get stops. That has to be our identity. We have so many guys.
The NBA takes this stuff seriously, and Collins just crossed a line that's going to be hard to come back from. Remember when Collins flipped off the ref? Yeah, that's going to cost him big time. The NBA doesn't mess around when it comes to disrespecting officials. You're probably wondering, how much is this going to set him back? Well, let's break it down. Think about it. Russell Westbrook made an obscene gesture and got slapped with a $35,000 fine. Anthony Edwards? Same deal.
Starting to stack up more seasons in the NBA. And now we have guys that have been through it, been through the ringer, been through the playoffs, been fighting for championships, and their DNA.
It's been an emphasis this camp. Just try to switch some things up, give teams some different looks defensively than what we've been doing.
He flipped off a fan and boom, another $35,000 gone. But Collins? He took it to a whole new level. He flipped off a ref. That's not just crossing a line. That's sprinting past it and never looking back. Now, here's the thing. The NBA hasn't announced the fine yet, but you can bet it's going to be massive. We're talking suspension territory here, maybe even a longer ban.
That's a great trait to have. You have to have that in the NBA. He's a guy who's going to be a great player for a long time, and he's always going to have minutes, and he's always going to have opportunity. So,
Serious, have you felt that as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think when we get stops and get out in transition, especially that second unit, is huge for us. And with the way they're guarding ball screen.
The league takes this stuff seriously, and Collins just gave them a reason to make an example out of him. But you know what's crazy? While everyone's talking about the fine, the Spurs got absolutely crushed. They lost 140-113. That's a beatdown. But no one's even talking about the score. It's all about Collins and his meltdown. And don't even get me started on social media. It went wild. Fans, players, everyone had something to say. Some people were predicting a suspension right off the bat. Others were questioning the ref's calls. It's like the whole basketball world exploded. Get this. One fan tweeted, "Welp, there's a suspension and a fine." And that's just the tip of the iceberg. People were going back and forth, debating whether Collins was justified or if he totally lost it. But here's what's really interesting. Some fans pointed out that this was the third straight game where a Sacramento opponent got ejected. Is there something in the water in Sacramento? Are the Kings secretly masters at getting under people's skin? It's like they've got this hidden talent for making their opponents lose their cool. So what's next for Collins? Well, we're all waiting to see what the NBA does. Will they throw the book at him?
Bullet hit me, but it didn't wound me too much.
Flesh wound.
Yeah, it's a flesh wound.
In a nutshell, he just makes the game a lot easier, and guys are getting open looks left and right, and he's making passes that you don't know are there.
Make an example out of him, or will they go easy? One thing's for sure. This isn't just about one player losing his temper. It's about respect for the game, for the officials, and for keeping your cool when things get tough. Collins might have lost his cool, but the real question is, what's it going to cost him? All right, let's wrap this up. Collins' meltdown isn't just about one hot-headed player losing his cool. It's a wake-up call for everyone in the league. When the pressure's on and things aren't going your way, keeping your composure is crucial. But here's the thing, it's not always easy. Veteran players often talk about how important it is to stay calm under pressure. They say you got to focus on the game and avoid getting into it with the refs. But when you're in the heat of the moment, that's easier said than done. So what do you think? Was Collins way out of line, or did the ref push him too far? It's a tough call. One thing's for sure, this incident is going to stick with Collins for a while. Former players say outbursts like this can make it harder to get calls in the future. The refs remember, and respect is a two-way street in this game.